Hey, everybody, it's Kate Richbird. Let's do a take two on this broadcast. So, a quick update if you were watching broadcast number one earlier, Janice got all of a sudden a little not feeling so great. So, I've talked to her on the phone, everything's fine. She just got a little like flu bug, and she's like, I need to stay a little closer to the facilities than to this project. So she is fine, fine, fine. Don't worry at all about JP. But that means that I get to pinch hit and do this project. So if you saw the first broadcast, you saw we talked a little bit about the golden hour or the spectrum monthly mix that we did. So we're going to talk about that a little bit. So we're just going to kind of do a whole reset and jump in, shall we? So I know we are so sorry. We're checking her. We're all good. So and Janice and Miranda are in text communication. So don't worry. We've got her covered. There's no big emergency. She's just like, I can't do this project today. I have to do some other things. So she's good. She's good to go. So let me add my camera in, this camera, and I'm not going to do as good of a justice as Janice would do to this project, but I know what she wants to share with you. So let's get this show on the road, shall we? So Miranda made me these cute little things. If you remember, whoops, are they showing up correctly? Miranda, I'm seeing them kind of back. Oh, you know what? Should I mirror my camera? No, we're good. Okay, perfect. So here we go. We've got her two little things on here. So I'll go back to those in a second. But let me show you the handout that we've got here that Janice created. And I love it when she does these handouts because they are so informative and really fun to kind of go through. And what we call this page here is like what the editorial page, right? Like a magazine editorial, right? And so I also have a photo of it here. So let me show you this. So this is, as I said, the front page. The total length of her bracelet, it's 28 inches. So it goes, it's a 4 wrap. And what we used in the project, and Miranda will link the project over there in the chat, what we've used, and I agree, Mary Ellen, I just love these little photo notes that are here, right? Let me take this off real quick. So, but I love, whoops, sorry, that's not right. There we go. We're good. I love her little photo notes here. So we're going to talk our way through this design. Essentially, what she did was we started with the Tylas. It's the Tyla mix. It is the monthly mix called Spectrum this month. And it is half Tylas. It comes in a smaller tube, that 12-gram tube. So, and what Janice used is only like about half of what is in the tube. So you can see she started with this button. This is the Nouveau button. And the artist that we're taking the inspiration from, is it Hilma? Hilma Aft Klimt, and it's an artist that Miranda found, and you can go and see on the product page for this Spectrum mix with it. It talks about, and it's right here. It also talks a little bit about it in the handout, but this is the painting that we used for our for our inspiration. Well, what Miranda and Janice used. I have nothing to do with this other than pinch hitting for this project. But you can see this large round button was the one that we used to kind of anchor the wrap. And it really does mimic this round kind of cool motif in this painting. And then this painting kind of goes into this Tyla-like kind of almost laddering, right? With some rounds in the center. So what we used was what Janice picked out to use for this project is this button right here. And what do we call this button? Is it the Art Nouveau? Is this one? Because she did paint during the Art Nouveau period. We used a 6mm Druck right here, and we used a 3mm Art Nouveau Swirl, this is called. So we use the 3mm fire polish. I'm going to clean my camera a little bit. I feel like it's not. So I'm going to wipe your face here. Hang on. I'm giving everyone a shiny face. There we go. I think that's actually a little bit better. And then, of course, we used this Spectrum mix, this Tyla mix. And again, I think it really mimics the colors very well of what she used. I'm going to go ahead and dump it right here into this little dish, which is here. And so basically it's 3 beads, this button. Janice also used the 1mm leather cord. And I wanted to let you folks know about our 1mm or about our leather cords. We've actually made a little bit of a switch with how we sell our cords. Do you remember how back in the day, way back in the day, we used to sell them in the 4-yard bundles, right? Well, we made the decision, we had a fulfillment company doing our fulfillment, and it was just easier to have them sell it by the yard. But we really missed it in those 4-yard bundles. So you will see that our 1.5 and our 1mm are now converted back to our 4-yard, what we call nests, like that. The 2mm right now is offline because Chris is busy winding them into the 4-yard bundles. So those will be back online probably tomorrow. Our 0.5 is still in the single yard, but hopefully by the beginning of next week, everything will be back in the 4-yard nests. So I'm glad, because what we heard from a lot of our customers is we didn't really have time to make that quantity change in a lot of our projects. And we're like, what are we doing that for? Right? We want to go back to those 4-yard nests. So that's how you're going to get it. 4 yards, no knots. You'll have plenty for your project. A few of you, when you were buying your cord, were like, oh, I just got a yard and now it's not enough for our project. So we made that transition back. Once the transition is completely made, I will put it in the newsletter. But I wanted to give you that little heads up. And yes, if you were watching my socials, you did see that Alfred was guarding the leather stash. And today is Alfred's 8th birthday, if you can believe it. April 1st. Is his birthday. And yes, we will be getting back to those leather grab bags. It makes it a little bit easier too, because when we wind these, we get much more extra cord. So it's a lot of grab bags. It's a lot of leather grab bags will be back up as well. So no, we think that we calculated from his gotcha date, we calculated backwards, and we figured that he was born on April 1st. And since he's such a silly boy, we made April Fool's Day his birthday. So that's how it is. So, the 4-yard bundles, we're going to sell them in 4-yard bundles. if you, and we pre-cut it, so our leather inventory will finally be correct after all of these years of kind of guesstimating it. But if you do need, like, let's say you need like a spool, right? That comes in like a 25-yard spool or whatever. If we are kind of making an order or something, you can always email, right? And we can see if we can work it out. But we are pre-spooling all of these so that we know at any given time the exact amount of inventory that we have had. It's been kind of literally a little bit of a nightmare not having all of our leather pre-spooled and pre-cut. So we're just going with the 4-yard bundles. If you're like, you know what, I really want like a long, like 10-yard, 20-yard, 25-yard length, do email us. I can't guarantee that A, we'll have it, B, that it won't have knots in it. So I think it's a better idea to order it in those 4-yard bundles. 4 yards are great for projects. What we used in this project, Janice used 2 yards. So you still have 2 yards available to work on another wrap. Okay. It's also not that difficult to add leather in. And I can show you that today as well if you wanted to add leather and if you wanted to add thread, because that's kind of what this whole piece is about. So again, FYI, apologies, Janice isn't on with me for this reboot. She's a little under the weather, so I'm going to do my best to pinch hit. So let's get into it, okay? So here we go. Here's all the products that we're using. As I said, the 1mm leather that got us kind of off on that that tangent. We've got our Spectrum monthly mix for April. It's right here. We've got this Art Nouveau. What is it called again?
Art Nouveau Swirl.
Art Nouveau Swirl. This is one of the large check glass buttons, really gorgeous. This is a 28mm, maybe. It's a big one. So it's it's about an inch or so. 27. So it's about an inch. So this really stands out. We're also using a Druck in 6mm, 3mm fire polish, because those go nicely with the Tylas. And then, of course, we're using a KO. So let me attach this all together onto the board, and let's go there. I need a piece of cord. My table, I'm telling you, after this broadcast, we are going to we're going to clean. Is there an ADOT that we forgot? Oh, it's the fire polish, I think, here. And there's no ADOT. No, there is an ADOT next to the fire polish, isn't there?
Yeah. Oh,
see that there?
It's the 11.
Oh, will you get what it is? Okay. Good eye, my friend Trudy. There is an ADOT in there. Which one did we send her?
It's 593. We could sail on free.
Okay. Will you grab one for me? And we'll add it. Do you know how to add it to the? Okay. Just tag it. Tag it with golden hour and it'll show up. Okay. Sorry about that, everybody. We've been working on this far ahead, but I guess we need one of you to be our spell checker. So sorry about that. I'm going to make up one of these little sections so we've got it all together here. Bear with me here just a minute. Thanks, Miranda. No, it was an 8, not an 11.
It's not an 8, it's an 11. That's the one we sent her.
Is it? Mm-hmm. Let me see.
I promise, because I picked it.
Let's double check.
Dark beige Ceylon.
Dark beige Ceylon. You're right. It's an 11-aught. It's right here. So we're going to add it because you can see in this little section right here, here's the Tyla, here's the 11-aught, here's the 3mm fire polish, here's the 6mm Druck, and then it goes down. So I'm going to attach the thread. I'm going to show you this section, and then I'll show you how to add thread. I'll show you how to add leather, etc., etc. Okay? So, thanks. Good eye, my friend. So let's go ahead and attach this to the board. Okay? I'll go ahead and do that. Miranda, do we have just a short piece of the 1mm? I don't want to use this whole, cut up this whole thing because this is just going to be a little short one. And then it's not going to be a finished piece. Oh, perfect. That's great. Gracias. I'll give you that back. Here's that to you. Okay. So we're going to get our button, and I'm going to make this kind of short, so in length. So here's this, right? I'm pulling it through. I'm going to turn this board the long way like this. Don't look at what's underneath here. Isn't it a mess? Oh, it's so terrible. But after this show, we're going to, as Miranda likes to say, we're going to doom box it. Right, Miranda? Mm-hmm. Clean it. And then, yeah, I usually try and clean it once a month, but it's a mess right there, right now. And Miranda, you're adding that seed bead, right? Okay, perfect. So the seed bead is up. There we go. This looks good. This was left over from the stretch bracelet party. There we go. That's a little bit cleaner visually. So here we go. Buttons on, and I'm just getting my piece of thread right here. I'm going to attach it to the board. I added on to the project how to attach a project to the board. So you can see that there. I'm just going to do this quick down and dirty way that I do it. But I know promises, Margaret, right? I'll get there. I'm telling you. Oh, so much work to be done. So little time. Or not enough time. But we get it done. I mean, there's, you know, like 5 of us here. Sometimes. Right? So I'm going to come over here at this end, and I'm going to clamp. I'm going to clamp this one down too. Okay. So we've got a nice tight leather on here. The leather is nice and taut on our board. Okay. So let's move this back, and there we are. All right. So the thread that Janice decided to use in this project, she likes to use KO with laddering, especially with this 1mm leather. And I like it too. You know, the cool thing about the KO is that you can use it double, and we are actually using it double for this project. Sorry, I moved the camera, and now I need to move it back so it's not so wonky. There we go. And I'm going to zoom in here. Hang on. Let me do this. There we go. A little bit better, I think. Ta-da. So what Janice tells us on this project is, and it's here in the in her little handout she made, she cuts 2 yards, 72 inches of leather to make the 4 wrap for her wrist. Her actual wrist is 6.5 inches, so each wrap measures about 7 inches to allow some room for the bracelet to breathe when she's wearing it. She used the 1mm leather, but she could have easily used the 0.5. Both sides will complement the beads. Okay. So you begin by bringing your button to the middle of the leather, like I did here. Okay. And she made these little signs. Okay. When we add the beads, we're going to add the beads on this side, on our left side, right? And then she has this other little sign that says, remember, we're doing an infinity stitch and we need to complete one hole, and then we go down and we complete the second hole, right? So to continue, I like to work with 3 yards of thread at a time. More than that, and it just gets tangled, and I end up spending way too much time untangling. By doing the pattern in manageable lengths, I'm able to stop beading, tie off the old thread, add the new thread to make it. And I'm going to show you how we do that. Okay. So blah blah blah, GS hypo. Okay. So some of the tricks for this, okay? To avoid bringing the needle through the P or Q end, make sure you're starting with the side that allows you to bring the tail ends through the loop. I'm going to show you that because that is really super, super handy. And I'll clarify that. Don't cut more than 3 yards of a thread at a time. Beads are only added on that one side. Infinity laddering is simply over, under, all right? And don't forget to stitch the second hole of the bead as you do this. This design could be done with full tieless, half tieless, quarter tieless, or a combination of any of them. She prefers using a sturdy needle like the Sharps, and I do as well, so that's what I'm going to be using. And so that's it. Okay, so let me show you how we're going to start. We're going to start by adding our KO and macrameing right here on this side. So let me get my KO. She used gold for this one, which I like, but you could use any color that you want to. I need to find the end. So let me get 3 yards. I'm getting 3 yards of my KO. That's 1. I'm just kind of doing like a wingspan. 2 and 3. You can't see me do it because I'm off camera, but there it is. I'm going to cut that. I'm going to thread my Sharps needle, and then we're going to do our beginning macrame. Okay, so here is our thread. I'm going to needle that thread right here, like this. And go through. And since I put on 3 yards, my working length of thread is 1.5 yards. Okay, like so. So, whoops, make sure nothing. Oh, you know, it always happens. I get a little, be careful when you're tightening up. Sometimes you get a little knot by your needle. Thank goodness I caught it. Hang on there. There we go. Just like that, and just like this. Okay. So now, what Janice tells us to do, that rule number 1, that tip number 1, to avoid bringing the needle end through the P or Q when you macrame, make sure that you're starting with the side that allows you to bring the tail ends through the loop and not the needle. Okay? So that means I make the loop with my needle side. So I'm going from my right to my left. Okay. And I need just enough to work with to give me about 6 macrame stitches. Okay. Let me zoom in a little bit more so you can see what I'm doing. So here we go. I am making the loop with my needle end. See, there's my needle end. Oops, that might be a little close. So here's my loop. I'm starting on my Q side. And see, with the tails, I go over the thread, under the center, and through. So see, I didn't have to bring the needle end through. Okay. Now I kind of push this up. So I've got enough room there to kind of move things around, right? But it's not super tight that it's going to break. Okay. My button needs a little air there. So now I'm going to go in, I'm going to make my second loop. That's the P side there. Here's the ends of my thread, like this, over and under and up through. Okay, like so. Now I'm going to do this in a little more of a rapid succession until I clear. Whoops. It's a little hard when it's doubled. You could wax your thread. I know some of you are going to ask about that. You could, you know, if I wanted to wax like this end to kind of keep it together, but you don't really need to. Okay. I'm just going to keep going. Make my loop with my needle side. And so my needle is kind of going back and forth, right? But I'm bringing the threads through that with my non-needle end. Does that make sense? Right? So we're doing that. That way you don't catch your needle on your hand. It's easier, I think, to pass those tails through rather than the needle side. So we're almost clear of that button. Okay, so let's do just a few more here. Whoops, try not to get this caught. Look, I got it caught on my needle package. Let me put that safely out of range. Make the loop with the needle side, over and under. There we go. And we need to make sure that the needle side is on the side we're going to start with. Okay, so here we are. Like so. I'm going to do two more because I'm going to put my tails through on this side. Now my needle is over to my right. I'm going to put the threads through on this side, and now my needle is over to my left, and I'm ready to start. Okay, so let's get this a little bit closer so you can you see that, how it's cleared the button? Okay, so now let's get set up. Beads go this side. Okay, we have another little thing. Remember the second hole on the half tilas. And I'm going to show you what I do with these tails a little bit later. Janice likes to deal with them a little bit differently. If it were me, to be honest, I would put glue there and I would just cut them off, or thread burn them off. But this is a great Janice tip that she does. So I'm going to show you this because it really is a good one. But I'm going to put that over here, okay, just for the moment to kind of keep it out of the way. All right. Now, the other thing is we need a little bit of space here, right, to let the beads go in between the leather, right? So I'm using my KO spool right now until I get everything laddered in. I'm going to use my KO spool to kind of open up that space in there. And let me see if I can see. I don't have her sample here, but I am going to guess, if I'm looking at the beginning of her bracelet here, it looks like she started with the 3mm fire polish. a single one, maybe 2 of them, maybe 3. But I'm going to start with that. Okay. So let me get that 3mm fire polish. Let me cut that open. And we're going to put those down. And we're going to ladder starting with those guys. Okay. Let me clear the deck so I don't get everything tangled. Now remember, our needle is, oh, see, there's that. Oh, sometimes that happens. That little knot gets in there. But you know what? Since my thread is pretty even, if I can't unknot this, the knot is so small that I'm not even going to worry about it. Can you see it? How it's there kind of knotting those together? I'm just going to ignore it. Okay? Just going to ignore it. Let's put the first fire polish on. Now remember, the mantra is over, under, over, under. Okay? So, with my needle, over, and my thread is coming down from the left, over the left-hand side, under the right-hand side, and it nestles in. Okay? Like that. And now I come in and I go over this side, through my bead hole, under that side, and tighten. Okay? That's it. Now, you can, if you want, and I'm pulling on both of these threads to make sure it's nice and even. You can go through that one more time if you want, but I don't want to, and I don't think I need to either. So now, beads this side. I'm going to add my bead. I go over the left hand, under the right hand, place that bead. Okay? And now I come back the same path from the right, over the leather, through the bead, and under the leather. See how I can just dip that? I love it. You guys are saying that Janice would tell me to do this and that. Well, you know, I learned from the best, right? So I'm channeling JP for sure. Okay. So now I'm going to do 3 of these, and then we're going to move to the half tila. Okay. So we go here, we're under right here. So I come over with the needle and then under, place the bead, and then over this side and under. Okay. So now it's time to add tilas. So let's see what color she used, though I could use whatever color I want because I'm the boss of me. But see how she color blocked these in series of 2. So I think she used whatever this really cool color is. It's kind of this iridescent blue. She used that. Then she kind of used this lilac orchid color. Then I think it's the transparent amethyst AB. Then this transparent light topaz AB. And then the dark topaz, maybe? I'm not sure what she did, but that's what I'm going to use, right? Because it's kind of like a color gradation. Okay, like that. All right. So, and I think what she did in this, we can kind of take a look. She kind of reversed her pattern here. So she started, oh, and here's the green. We need to put this green in too. So I'm just going to do, the beauty of this is that you can kind of do your own thing with your design, right? Sorry, let me get this a little bit over there. So this is the pattern I'm going to do. Then I'm going to add the 11/aughts right here, right? Then I'm going to add some more fire polish. Then I'll add the druck. Okay? And then I'll show you the sections, adding this section right here, the macrame. This is where you kind of start and stop. You could add, if you had to, you could add more you could add more thread here if you need to for laddering. You can also add more cord here if you needed to. So let me show you how that's going to look. Okay, so now that I have kind of my little opening here with my leather, I can take this KO spool out and let's ladder, shall we? So here is my my tila. And remember, it's 2 holes, and the holes go this way. I'm going to draw it here on the other side of this so that the tila bead looks like this, the half tila. We're going to use 2 of those tila beads side to side, okay? And remember, there are 2 holes in that tila bead. So you infinity stitch through 1, and then you infinity stitch through the second. Okay, like so. All right, my Apple Watch is telling me to stand, so I better stand. I'm standing. It's telling me we're getting serious, so I'm going to stand. It's easier for me to ladder anyway when I'm standing up, when I'm demoing. That's a little bit better. Okay, so what I do here is I'm going to start by putting on a tila through the top hole of the 2, like this and like this. Okay, now remember, we're going over, so we're going to go over the left hand, under the right hand, nestle those tilas in between, like so, like this. All right, and now I'm going to come back over, through, and underneath. Oh, I love it. Someone's commenting that they still use Alfred's picture mug. You know, we still have the links to those. I wonder if I can find the link to the store that made those. If I do, I'll put it in the newsletter or something somewhere. If you want. This is so much back in the day. I got an Alfred mask too. We had masks with Alfred on the front. It was it was the watercolor that Janice did of Alfred.
Like a COVID mask.
It was a COVID mask, yeah. No, it was not a full Halloween mask, though. That would be awesome. So see here, I've come through the top. Now I'm going to go through the bottom, over the leather, through the beads, and I treat these beads as if they were one, under the leather, pull it tight, back through, and then back through that one as well. See that? Just like so. So now, because if sometimes, and it's easy to do, I do it too. You go through this first hole and then you jump down through the second hole and you're done. You don't want to do that. You want to go through the first hole back and forth and then the second hole back and forth. Okay. Let's use our second tila color, shall we? It really is a beautiful wrap. Isn't it gorgeous? I really just love it. And I think that Miranda and Janice did an excellent job picking the, so I want to go over. I was going to go under, but that's not right. Picking the artist and picking the color palette for this, right? So there we go. And see how I just I push them up with my index finger, kind of hold them stationary with my thumb, and I'm working the needle with my dominant hand, which for me is my right hand. and then I pop it under the leather. Okay. I'm going to keep laddering. I just have a couple more. I don't know if you folks, if you're watching this live, it is Wednesday, April 1st. A couple of notable things. Alfred's birthday, April Fool's Day, of course, and the launch of the Artemis 2 rocket back to the moon. We have it muted here in the studio. We're watching the live NASA feed. They have just put the astronauts in to the capsule. Everybody is there waiting. Then it'll be, I think it's T minus 3 hours, 30 minutes and 26 seconds. I think I just glanced up to see that. Yeah, they do. They've got to wait. Then it's go, no go. And then hopefully it's a launch. They're not going to be landing on the moon this time, but it's the first time we've gone around the moon since 1972. So Godspeed to our very brave astronauts. One of them is a woman astronaut, the first one to go to the moon. And we have one of our neighbors from Canada on this rocket launch as well as an astronaut. So it's really exciting. I love space. If NASA had knocked on my door this morning and said, Kate, you want to get in the rocket? I would have said, get me in that suit. I am ready. So I hope everything goes well for their 10-day mission. So Godspeed to our brave astronauts who are going today. We're watching it on the NASA YouTube channel. So it's muted though while we're doing this. It's not taking up too much of my concentration as I'm laddering. So you can see I've got 3 of these tilas on here. I am using this thread doubled, indeed, Carolyn, but I am using KO. You could use, I love KO for this double laddering for wrap bracelets. I use it a lot. Right? I love it. And Wendy says she's popping back and forth between Artemis and this live. So I love it. So remember, beads are on this side. Remember the second hole of the bead. We're putting those little reminder notes there. And we're going to continue. To ladder. Yes, I would definitely have brought my beads into space had they asked me. Can you imagine when I opened these 11-aught seed beads? The capsule would have seed beads in it until we floating in the air until we got gravity, until we came back into gravity. So can you imagine? So I don't know that they would let me bring my beads into the rocket, but I'll ask for next time.
You'll ask.
We'll see. I'll ask when they come knocking on my door and say, I'll be the first beater in space. Right? So I'm ready. It would be so amazing. And what a forward for science and exploration. New frontiers, right? I love it. So here we go. And I'm going to put, where am I? I think I just need 2 more sections.
Someone asked how much of the mix to use.
Oh, we only used about half. You only really need 1 tube of the mix, right? That's it. So that would be plenty. I know beading without gravity, it might not be the best idea, but
it would actually be better.
Yeah, I would just be floating around the capsule with my seed bead needle, trying to catch them in the air. It would be a whole thing. It would really detract from the real, purpose of the mission. So probably it's best that I'm not there with them. But, yeah, and I would take Alfred with me too, right? He would be the first cat in space, and it'd be a whole thing. We should do some kind of a letter to NASA. Maybe it'll happen. Doubtful. but you never know. You never know. But I'm in. I'm in. Yeah. Christine saying it would detract from the pleasure of beading. It's true. And yes, I would be playing David Bowie for sure, but I would be Major Kate 100%. I keep losing these Tylas, so let me get the green ones. And then we'll go to the 11/aughts. The cool thing about these half Tylas is that and it's only half Tylas, right? So we could mix these up and not color block them. You could have one color be one and then the other color be the other, whatever. Play around with it. It's really, really fun, right? So let me put this. Let me go through and we'll do this last one. Margaret is saying, apparently when my family watched the moon landing, I was unimpressed, right? I remember my mom, I was little, that was 1969. So it was the summer right before I turned 3. And I remember my mom, remember Ma, we were watching it on the black and white TV in your room. And it's one of my actual first memories because my mom really ingrained it into my head that what a monumental thing this was. I remember that for sure, watching it on the black and white TV. One small step for man, one giant leap for beaters everywhere, right? So here we are. So in this next little section, we are going to do the 11s. And the cool thing about the 11s is to kind of match this size, we can use 4 of the 11/aughts, or we could do 2 8/aughts, right? And then we go here, and then we go to the 3mm fire polish, and then we go to the Drux. Oh, I love this. I do have a subscription to the New Yorker. Thanks, Jen, for letting us know. There's a fascinating article about Hilma af Klint in the New Yorker for those with a subscription. I do have one, and maybe I think I can do a gift subscription or a gift article. So I'll try and put that in the bead table. It's good. So no, you don't hear, you hear Miranda in the background, and planes in the background as well. Our Emily too is back tomorrow. She's doing.
Emily Miller is in the chat.
Oh, Emily Miller is in the chat. Emily Miller.
Emily Senior.
I'm sorry. I missed you jumping in. Sorry. Where is she? She just came. Did she comment? Did she say anything?
Yeah, she popped in.
Oh,
She was saying
I missed you.
bead crochet was great because loose beads.
Right. We could do bead crochet in space. Emily, do you want to come with me? Come with me. So here are the 11s. Emily 1. There we go. And through. And now I will do a second one. Our metals retreat is coming up. I know I owe all of you an email, those of you who are attending. I promise I will be getting to that this week. We still have 2 spaces left. So if you want to hang out with Emily Miller and I in Fresno. And Miranda. And Emily too, hopefully will be making a guest appearance just to pop in. We're going to have some fun times. So there are 2 spaces left. So we'd love to have you. We'd love to see you. So see, I'm tightening it up like this. I'm doing this. And then we're coming underneath. So see how nice this group of 11/aughts come together like this, right? Can you see that there? There we go. This way. And we'll go through. Okay, like this. And we'll go underneath. Okay. So now I think it's time for, whoops, my leather became unclamped. Let me reclamp it. Let me see what it's time for.
The fire polish.
And it's 2, I believe. 2 fire polish, I think, is next in this row. So 1 and 2. I think my mom's going to make a special appearance too at the bead. Yes, she's saying she'll probably pop in. It's where my mom and I sew, where we have quilting. So Mom, you should just bring your machine and just sit in the corner where we usually sit, and you can just sew while the rest of us do metal. That would be fun. Going through and then back down like that. And see, look at how nice that nestles in there. Okay. Oh, I love this chat that's happening. Terry is asking Emily 1, please make some of your fine art creations available for purchase to those of us who swoon over them online. And Emily's response is, if you follow her on Instagram, you can message her about any items you covet. So, Em, will you put your Instagram handle up so people can find you on Insta? Emily's making such beautiful jewelry. If you're anywhere near the old, I think it's the downtown Sacramento farmers market on Saturdays, you can go see her, right? OG Emily. That's right. It's the OG Emily. I love it. So this is coming. The original Emily, not to be duplicated in any way, right? So now we're going to put in some of this 6 millimeter. Okay. And there's Emily's Instagram handle right there for you. So Janice has put in 3. So let's see what 3 looks like. Okay. And it is at the Midtown Farmers Market in Sacramento. So one of these 6 millimeter drucks is going to sit in there really perfectly. Okay. So here's the 6. We're going to ladder that in. Your round druck gives you a little bit more space, but that's okay. I seem to have gotten a little bit of a tangle, but don't stress. There we go. There it goes. So see, there's the first druck. Let's get the second here, right? We're going to do this one like so and dip underneath. We're going to go a little bit later than noon today because we did have to restart this broadcast due to Janice being a little under the weather, but that's okay. And see if it's see how it's a little loose right here like that? I'm going to come in, and what I do is I pull on the right side to kind of tighten my first left-hand stitches. Then I pull tight like that. Okay, that's a good tip. And we'll put on this third one. Okay, how am I doing on time? Not too bad. So we're going to do this, dip under. I'm going to go a little bit faster at Kate speed because I want to do this second half. So see, we've kind of established, let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. So I'm going to redo this pattern, right? That's what I want to do. All right. Oh, Virgin Galactic has re-upped its, but I want to go to space, not lower space. I mean, Great job, Virgin Galactic, but I want to go into orbit, right? That's what I want to do. I mean, you go, space tourist. If that's for you, I think that's awesome. But I want to go and conduct some experiments, some beading experiments, right? That's what I want. Let me get my, I don't think they're going to call me, though. I really don't. Let me get my awl. I think it's here somewhere. Either my awl or I just need, I can get another little heavier piece of wire. Do you see the awl anywhere there? I can also use the tip of this plier. Oh, this will work. The tweezers will work. Let's do that. See how this is kind of loosey-goosey over here? When I'm tightening, it also helps sometimes to get that awl or the tip of your plier in there and then tighten. Okay? And the KO doesn't really split, especially if you give it just a light coating of wax. I did not wax this at all, honestly. Okay. And here, we'll go here. And we're going to tighten that up. And we'll put this back through. It really is a great riff on that art piece. I think Janice really captured the, oh, and see, look, I did it wrong there, but it doesn't matter. I wanted the 11s. I wanted to put on the 11s. I'm just going to put on the fire polish. I'm not going to go back. Right? Right? So we're going to do this. And we'll put those on. Okay. We could also do, well, I'm not going to screw this up too much. I'm just going to keep going. You could just make this, if we were doing a long bracelet, we could just incorporate this, right? And have it be part of the design or whatever. I'm not overly fussed about that. My misstep, I was too busy thinking about going into space. Okay. So Mary Ellen Siegel is asking a good question. Any advice on how to prevent your beads from popping up while you're wearing it? Okay. Some do and some don't. So, you know, what you want to make sure, what I find when that happens is that I've missed stitched, right? So I want to make sure from this side, I'm going over, from this side, I'm going under, and I will go over on this side and under on this side. So we're consistent. Okay. If you've been doing that and that's not really the issue, it may be like, see between these 11/0 and this 6/0 here, since there is such a large kind of size discrepancy, you may also have this be a problem. Also, if you're doing this a little too tightly, like where the beads are too tight, one against each other, see this, how this is it's a little too tight. So I'm giving this a little kind of rotation here with my fingers so that visually it still looks tight, but physically it's not overly tight, if that makes sense. That'll also give those beads a little more room to breathe. And then lastly, if you're putting an element in here that is a really odd shape, I would go ahead and I would ladder through it twice. Okay. That will help really keep things in alignment. So we'll put this tile on. We'll keep going. And yeah, I think it's the tightness factor for sure. It also happens to me, Mary Ellen, like you're saying, when I'm using shadows, And those are metal beads. They're really tight. There's no give there. So they need a little bit of air. Make it so that they are physically tight, but not visually, that they're physically loose is what I meant to say, but not overly, over physically tight, if that makes sense. Because if they're too smashed up against one another. So let me show you this. Let me start alternating colors with this. You could also do some color blocking since I wasn't doing a perfect mirror of this. We can kind of come here and see you can use one half tila that looks, you know, change the colors around like this. This also is a nice way to color block. And this way. Now I'm starting to kind of run out of thread here, right? I want to stop while I still have plenty of thread to go, right? So it's not too, so I still have got some room. So this would be like my first wrap segment. Let me do a little more color blocking here. Let me use this one. And let me use this yellow one. Okay. And then, yeah, Emily's giving the right advice here too, for sure. When beads are kind of squared off, they also have a little bit of a tendency, right, to kind of displace themselves. So now I'm just going to do this pattern, but I'm going to reverse it. Playing with pattern in this wrap, that's not the right bead. So I'm going to reverse that one I just put on. Like that. Oh, see what I didn't do? I didn't go back through that second hole. Let me do that real quick. Not paying attention. But I'm getting shorter amounts of thread, so I'm just going to finish this motif, and then I'll show you what I do here. Okay. Bear with me here just a second. We'll do that. I'll put on this light one. And we'll put on this one. Like that. We'll go back through. Like that. And then we'll go back through that bottom one. So see, I'm kind of reversing my color blocking. Like this. Right there. Back through that bottom hole. Don't forget your little sign. Remember. And now I'll end it. I'll do that in reverse. What color is that? I think it's this one. And then this one. So it's going the opposite way. So see, you can kind of see that color, that reverse color blocking and stuff kind of working out there. Now I need to taper down. I'm really getting dangerously close to low thread. So I need to taper this down and put some macrame in so I can switch. This is what Janice wanted to show you. So let me go back here. Now I need to taper down with my, let's do that. So see, look at how nice that little kind of reverse color blocking is going. Like that. So now I need to taper down here. So I'm going to go to a few single 3mm fire polish. Okay, I'm going to do that to there, like so.
Margaret say you're playing fried chicken?
I am. I'm so playing thread chicken. Let me tighten this up. There we go. And I'm going to do one more. Maybe I can get 3. Because I kind of want it to match what I've got going up here. And then I'll show you how I add more thread. What we're going to do, we're going to keep going with this KO. Yeah, I'm just going to do it. I'm going to get myself another needle full of KO here. Okay, just like this. All right, so see what I've got there? I've kind of finished this off. So now I really need to add more thread. So a good place to add thread are these macrame junctions that are here. So I'm going to reel off 3 more lengths of thread, right? So I've got my KO, and I'm going to go 3 more yards. So here's 1, 2, and 3. I'm not cutting the needle off or anything yet on this other one, right? I'm just getting a second sharps needle. And I'm going to needle that thread as OG Emily has taught us. Let me get that eye of that needle. I'm trying to do it under the camera and I can't see it. Yeah, sorry. I'm going to have to take it closer to my eyes, closer to my field of vision here. There it goes. Okay. And I'm going to double this thread over. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to macrame just like we did before, like we did up here. Okay. So, but what I'm going to do here is I'm going to lay my thread, and because that little knot, see, it's kind of funny right there. So I'm going to try not to have it have a knot, but I'm going to pull this down and I'm going to clamp that on there. Okay. Like this. Okay. And let me tighten this up. Yeah, Janice, have you heard from Janice at all, Miranda?
Yeah, she's okay.
Yeah, she was texting.
She feels bad.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, feels bad that she left the
Right. Yes, Janice is texted.
She's okay.
Yeah, she's fine. She feels bad she left the thing, but she's fine. She just had a little touch of stomach flu, so she's all right.
Stomach flu don't care if you're...
Yeah,
live.
stomach flu doesn't care if you're on a live broadcast, right? So now remember, I'm going to make the loop with the needle side. So my needle side is going over to the right, and I'm going to make the tails going through the loop there. So see, my needle is going towards the left. I'm coming in. I make my loop. I bring those tails over that thread, under the center of the leather, and up through the loop. And see, my old needle, my old thread is right there. Okay, so I've made my first macrame stitch with my new thread. Now I'm going to do about 3 here, right? So I'm going to loop from the opposite side, loop it under, tighten it up. There we go. And I'm going to do this a few times. Then I'm going to add a little bit of glue just as insurance. So I've got 3, I'll do 4, and then I'll put glue and I'll do like 4 more. Okay, so there's that. Let me get in, whoops, sorry about that. Let me get in a little bit tighter. Let me get my GS. Before I do that, I want to make sure, see, this is a little, there's a little bit of a loose thread there. Can I get it pulled in? Not really. So I'm not going to worry about it too much. Ugh. You know me. Even though I say I'm not going to worry about it too much, I'm going to go ahead and worry about it. I hope I don't break my thread. Let me see if I can get that pulled in. There we go. I'm getting my tweezer underneath those 2 threads. I'm going to try and pull one at a time. This may be playing with fire. But, oh, please don't let me break that thread. Are you like me where I can't leave it alone? I don't know what it is. There we go. See? Tightened. Look at how much that tightened there. I think that was worth doing. Now, everybody breathe. I'm going to breathe. And now I'm going to pull this thread down. There we go. Oh, thank goodness. It looks better. I just couldn't. I mean, what's the matter? What's the matter with me? Why couldn't I just let that go? Right? I don't know. What are you going to do? A little bit of GS right there in the center. I am going to make my loop with my needle side, do a few more of these macrame stitches, still over that thread. I keep the needle on my old thread because it acts like a little bit of a weight to keep it together. But see, there it is. Over that, I'm going to do just a few more, and then I will cut that extra thread away. Okay. There we go. Now remember that needle, it's on the loop side, so I've got to get the needle to the other side. There we go. Okay, now I'm going to cut this away. Maybe I'll thread burn it. I just need to be real careful. Let me see if I could do it. And I'm going to slide this in under tension. There we go. All right. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to give myself a couple more. There's still a little bit of glue there. So I'm going to give myself a couple of knots. Okay, I don't know. I just threw something on the ground, but I don't know what it was, so I'm not going to worry about it. There's that. Here's this. And here's this. Okay. Oh, I need to get it back to the other side. There we go. Now, remember, I've got these tails now here. Okay. Right? And what you could do with the tails that you've been macrameing, I could glue them and just, thread burn them away. But one of the things that Janice wanted to show you today, and I agree, I think it looks nice. I am a gluer and a thread burner. But what she did is she's passing the end of these tails, and Emily does this a lot too. OG Emily does this. I'm going to use my sharps needle, and it's important to use a sharps needle for this because the sharps needle is stiffer. Let's see if I can get this through. So I'm going to thread these ends one at a time. So see, there's one. Okay. Now I'm just going to take this and I'm going to go through that center channel of the macrame and out If you need to use a plier to pull it through, you can. But see there, and that glue is still kind of wet underneath there. So I'm going to do that one. So see, that end is underneath now. And then I do this. Needle that. Oh, come on. Come on. Nope. Field division. There it goes. Same thing underneath that center tunnel. Get it under there. I'm just coming out kind of like in the middle of this macrame right there. Pull it through. And now it's all good. See that? Now I could cut it or thread burn it. I am going to, under tension, just clip it. And that's it. It's under there. And I do the same thing up there with this. Okay, I'll pull these out. I'll pull them up there and they're buried. Now I'm just ready to continue on with my laddering. Okay, it's a really good tip. It makes everything look really clean, really finished, no glue or anything. And it's where the glue under here is still wet. So this thread that goes through picks up a little bit of that glue. So we're good to go. So now you just continue with your laddering. Now, one of the things you could do here is using a single tila bead like this is a nice way to taper. You could also start with an 11/0 for tapering. Let me see if I can get this on there. Right? And just keep going. I'll do a measurement. This is probably about 6 inches that I've done here, maybe a little bit more. Be mindful of how much of the tail of the thread that you're doing the macrame with. You probably don't want to leave as long of a tail as I did because I ran out of thread kind of fast. And these tails up there are kind of long, right? But see, look, there's that little 11/0 that I think looks nice. And then I could do 2 11/0. The width of 2 11/0 are the same as 1/2 tila. 1/2 tila is the same width as 1 regular tila. And of course, the quarter tilas, you'd either use 4 for a full or 2 for a half. So you can certainly make up your own colorway for this if you're watching us later and we're out of that monthly mix. So see, over, under, over, back through. This size 10 sharps is a nice needle to do this with. It's not as bendy as a beading needle is. Now I think I will put in a 3mm fire polish just for fun. Like that. Just one and below, like so. Tighten it up, push it into place. And that 3mm fire polish is the same width as a 1/2 tila. And you can kind of start to go up from there. Let's see that. So you can make any kind of a pattern with this as you like. Download the handout so you have a copy of that picture, right? And you can kind of make your own kind of look for that. Okay, like so. Now, if I were adding cord, let me address this real quick. If I had a short piece of thread, or I decided, you know what, I wanted to make it a little bit longer. What I would do is I would lay, especially if this were 1 millimeter, I'd get my 1 millimeter cord, a fresh cord, and I'd have like my ends maybe here, right? What I would do is I would put these ends on the outside, my new ends, and I would taper down, right? I'd taper down so I'd have a taper there. I'd put my new cords on the outside, and I'd get a new thread and I'd macrame over this top, right? Maybe like 8 macrames or whatever. I'd glue it down really, really well. And then when I came down here, I would cut away those interior threads and I'd have the exterior threads, and they would be my new cords to ladder. Okay. So this is a good question. Sherry has a question about how long should the strands and stuff be. So let me take this off so you can see the length. My wrist is a little bit larger than Janice's. My wrist is about 6.5 inches. And so I want mine to be a little bit longer. But let me get a length here for this wrap. Where's my tape measure? Well, I've got one. I've got a ruler right here. Let me turn this over. I'm going to measure from that button. Yeah, I've got about 6 inches here right now. Okay. So every wrap that you do, so see here, this is one full wrap. Like if I were making this a single wrap, I would just finish it off here with some macrame, make my loop large enough for my button, finish it off with more macrame down here or a knot, and I'd call it a day. Okay. So essentially what you would do, and you could see here on Janice's photo, you basically just make, these lengths are all kind of the same. What she did, let me see what she says about the length. Okay. So Janice's actual wrist size is 6.5. So each wrap measures 7 inches to allow some room for the bracelet to breathe when I'm wearing it. So as you are making this, you can kind of, what I've done here, and you've seen me do this in the past, I've done like a little wrap kind of pattern. And what I did was for this one, this was from my year-end wrap 2025. So I cut this. This might have been 1, 2, 3, 4. This might have been 21 inches because this wrap, if it were a 4 wrap, this might have been 21 inches total. I think this was a 5 wrap for Janice because she said total length of this is 28 inches. So this is probably a 5 wrap. But for this, what I did was I cut this at 21 inches and then I kind of wrapped it around. I did some markings and you can see what I did here. This is 4mm fire polish with Pony Express beads. And then I probably did some kind of macrame here. Delica ladder with micro Ceylon traditional laddering. I did there. Then I stopped it there. I did some of that flat Bollywood macrame here. And then I finished with infinity stitch with that Kate's favorite with the little shadows. And then here is the loop. So you can go back and watch that one when I make this, the year-end wrap 2025. And I did another one. I think this is for the prairie one that I did, but I've hung on to these because they're good little patterns, right? And good little templates for them. So you can kind of And this, I can remember what it was that I did. I wouldn't remember this had I not made this little template. So do a little template. This is about maybe a 1/2 inch, or how wide is this? About 3/4. No, about a 1/2 inch in width, and then whatever the length of your template, of your wrap. Basically, for me, each wrap is about 7 inches. Okay, then I just keep them together and I have them tossed over here next to my tape measure, which I just saw and just found. So perfect, perfect, perfect. So you can see we've got almost one wrap. Since I'm not doing a button here, I'd make this about 7 inches. But I just kind of put this here, this macrame here. So I would just keep going, and this next one. So I'd keep measuring. What I don't want to do is have everything line up so that all of these little macrame pieces line up. So, however you want to do it. But I think this is a pretty good start for it. I did a shorter piece of leather. So if I want to do this more than 2 wraps, I'm going to need to add some leather, but I showed you how I would do that as well. So that is it, my friends. I hope that I did Janice justice with this little bit of a pinch hit. Janice is fine. She will be back with me next Wednesday. I showed you this, but I'll show you this again. Next Wednesday, we launch our Great Bead Extravaganza kit, which is this vintage fob necklace. We've got the fobs, we've got a beautiful selection of charms, and we've got a bunch of really beautiful, you can hear that, crystal pearls in beautiful colors. So you will be able to mix and match. I'll have all 4 different colorways ready for you. You can also use some of your own charms if you like I did here with my own. But we're going to release the kit next. Well, it's not the kit, it's components. We're going to release that next Wednesday, which is the 8th, I think, right? Next Wednesday is the 8th. And then on that free tip Friday, and is that right? Do I have my dates right?
No.
I'm sorry. My dates
I don't know.
are completely wrong. Sorry. Let me back this up and get the right dates.
I think it starts on the 10th.
Is that right? Maybe I am
I
right.
think the 9th is the launch, or the what do they call that? Like the pre-screening.
Let me get hang on. Hold, please. I'm trying to do too many things at once. Let me get the promo calendar up here. Promo calendar, here it is, so I can tell you exactly. Yes, so I was exactly right. I was right. God, time is flying. Frickin' A. Yes, so next Wednesday, we are launching these really fantastic Great Bead Extravaganza products, the crystal pearls, all of the beautiful vintage style charms that we've gotten in. We're going to talk about all of that. Then on the Friday, Free Tip Friday, and on the Saturday for the Great Bead Extravaganza broadcast, we're going to kind of break this up into 2 broadcasts because it's kind of a big project. So Janice will be with me on Friday where we start to put it together, and then we'll finish it up on the Great Bead Extravaganza. You can see here's another one that I made with some of my personal charms. So between now and then, what you want to do is maybe look in your stash and find some charms that you like. These charms will be available. We have them in the silver colorway and the gold colorway. We've got 4 more pearl colorways for you. It's going to be super spectacular. I can't wait. I'm going to wear all of these necklaces together all at one time. I can't wait. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So that's what's coming up. This Friday, we're going to finish up we've got our check glass trunk show going on right now. We've got some of those up there in our Beadshop studio, We have the second half of that trunk show launching actually on Friday, which is not tomorrow, but day after tomorrow. There's some really beautiful shapes and stuff. I'm going to be playing with all of that check glass on Friday. The trunk show is going to be up through Monday, and then the trunk show gets sent back. Okay, so the trunk show will be ending up there. The charms, Alita, are detachable. You can see here I found these really great vintage watch fobs. So you can detach these charms and add different charms on. Look at this one. We have this really great vintage style charm. And we're getting more of these kind of vintagey things in, but yeah, you can mix and match, and it's going to be kind of amazing. So that's what's going on. So look at your charm hoard. Start setting some aside for the TGBE. Janice and I will start this odyssey with you starting next Wednesday, all the way through TGBE. On Friday, look at your newsletter. On Friday morning, you're going to have the second half of the check glass, which will make great charms for this project. I'll be on Friday for the broadcast to talk about those beads, maybe play around with them a little bit. And that's that. So, JP, I know you're going to watch the replay of this. Everyone is sending you great, great vibes. And of course, thank you, Mary Ellen. Happy Passover to everybody. Janice definitely needs some matzo ball soup, and we'll let her know that if you live closer, you'd bring her some. She makes the best matzo ball, though, I'll tell you. So happy spring. Happy April 1st. Happy Artemis 2 launch day. Happy 8th birthday to our Alfred T. Pickles. It was a big day today, everybody. Thank you so, so much for joining me for today. We had a great time. And so thank you. We really, really appreciate it. The mosaic charm on my necklace. Which one? This one?
Probably on the tray.
On the tray? Oh, this one. This old Italian mosaic. I just added a jump ring to that one, like that. And it came like this. My friend Jess from Jess Imports makes these charms. So yeah, I just put a little jump ring on that one. I will go pick out Alfred a nice stick, the nicest one in the yard, so he won't have to work on his birthday, I promise. Thank you all so much. A big thank you to Janice and Miranda for kicking this off on the old, the first broadcast. We really loved Miranda's mix and the inspiration behind it. So it is very limited. So if you want that Spectrum mix, go in, grab it. And we're caught up on orders. Orders are flying out of here fast. So Miranda and Emily have been working so hard to get everything back on track. And so orders are flying out. So thank you, thank you, thank you from the bottom of our little beady hearts. And I'll see you on Friday, everybody. Talk to you soon.